Well, folks, another day, another legacy media giant hitting the self-destruct button. Warner Brothers Discovery just laid off hundreds of employees across its cable networks. CNN, TNT, TBS, Discovery Channel, everybody gets a pink slip. This isn't just trimming the fat. This is lopping off entire limbs as linear TV bleeds out on the conference room floor. Welcome to The Critical Nerd. Let's talk about the extinction level event happening at WBD and what it means for the future of media. Hey folks, welcome back to The Critical Nerd, your number one source for what the mainstream media doesn't want to admit. Like the fact that the empire of cable television is collapsing faster than Disney stock. Oh, and a huge thank you to the 29,000 plus subscribers riding this content train. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button like David Zaslav hitting send on another round of layoffs. That's right, folks. WBD, Warner Brothers Discovery, just announced another round of layoffs because apparently firing people is the only business strategy they know. Today, we're diving into the latest cuts, what it means for your favorite shows, and why this company seems hell-bent on destroying everything they touch. But first, if you enjoy this content that actually tells you what's happening in Hollywood without the corporate spin, make sure to smash that like button too. We don't sugarcoat the truth around here. Let's get into it. Let's set the stage. Warner Brothers Discovery was formed all the way back in 2022. That was just 3 years ago, when AT&T basically threw in the towel and sold Warner Media to Discovery for $43 billion. What we got was David Zaslav, the CEO, a guy who apparently thinks the solution to every problem is cutting costs and firing people. Now, for those keeping track at home, this isn't WBD's first rodeo with layoffs. Oh no. They've been cutting staff like they're harvesting crops. We've seen rounds of layoffs in 2022, 2023, 2024. It's like an annual tradition at this point. Under the WBD umbrella, you've got TNT, TBS, CNN, Food Network, Discovery, TLC, Cartoon Network, Turner Classic Movies, and Max, or HBO Max, I think. I mean, it's been rebranded a couple of times because, they just love confusing their customers also. Remember when HBO was the prestige brand? When Cartoon Network actually showed cartoons, when CNN pretended to be news? Those were such simpler times, my friends. But here's the thing. This merger was supposed to create synergies and make the company stronger. Instead, what we got was a company that took on massive debt, canceled beloved shows left and right, and turned streaming into a shell game. So what's happening now? Well, according to multiple reports from Deadline, Variety, and other trades, WBD just initiated another round of layoffs targeting their cable TV operations. We're talking about cuts affecting networks like Discovery Channel, Investigation Discovery, TLC, and other cable properties. The number being thrown around is well under 100. Let's be honest. Under 100, that's corporate speak for we're not telling you the real number of employees we're letting go. Now, WBD wants you to know these are targeted cuts aimed at operating more efficiently. The translation? We're firing people because our business is failing and we don't know how to fix it. And the numbers don't lie. In quarter one of 2025, their global linear networks division saw operating profit fall 14% to $1.8 billion, with revenue down 6% to $4.8 billion. Their cable TV business revenue fell 7% to $4.7 billion, with ad revenue down 12% and distribution revenue down 9%. But here's my favorite part. These layoffs come nearly 12 months after their last round of layoffs. So much for that being a one-time thing, right? Oh, and it gets better. S&P Global just downgraded WBD to junk status. That's Wall Street speak for this company's a hot mess. They cited weak credit metrics and called the company's restructuring plans credit negative. Ouch. Now let's talk about David Zaslav's brilliant strategy. This guy decided to reorganize WBD into two divisions, one for streaming and studios, and another for cable TV. His reasoning? It would let them Move quickly if we decide to change and make a determination on restructuring. Translation: we're preparing to sell off or spin off the cable networks because they're dragging down our stock price. You know, it's the same playbook Comcast used when they spun off their cable networks into a company called Versant, which, surprise, surprise, also led to layoffs. But here's the kicker. Just this past Tuesday, yesterday, at WBD's annual shareholder meeting, investors delivered a massive rejection of Zaslav and his executive team. Nearly 60% voted down the advisory measure approving executive compensation for 2024. That's a huge swing from last year when shareholders nearly approved it with 53%. Zaslav made $51.9 million last year. That's up 4.4%, while the company is literally falling apart and firing people left and right. And here's the really damning part. WBD's stock declined 7% in 2024, while Netflix gained over 80% and Disney rose 24%. $52 million. You could fund an entire season of a decent TV show with that money. Instead, it went to the guy who's been systematically destroying everything fans loved about these networks. Now, while WBD hasn't released official statements from affected employees, because why would they give their former workers a voice? The pattern is clear. These aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. These are people who've worked for years building these brands. And it's not just WBD. Disney just laid off several hundred employees this week too. It's like there's a competition among media companies to see who can destroy their workforce fastest. This is all happening as traditional cable TV continues to hemorrhage viewers. Cord cutting isn't slowing down, and these companies are stuck with expensive linear networks that fewer people watch each year. But here's what's really frustrating. Instead of investing in quality content or finding innovative solutions, their answer is always the same: fire people and hope the problem goes away. Remember all those shows WBD canceled? Batgirl movie, various HBO Max originals, animated series that fans loved? This is the same thinking: cut costs, worry about the consequences later. So what does this mean for you, the viewer? Well, expect less content, lower production values, and more reality TV garbage to fill time slots. The writing's on the wall. WBD is preparing to either sell off or dramatically downsize their cable operations. They're betting everything on streaming and their studio businesses, but they're doing it in the most ham-fisted way possible. And here's the scariest part. This could be just the beginning. If their streaming division doesn't start pulling in massive profits soon, what do you think happens next? More layoffs, more canceled shows, more beloved properties getting the axe? The industry is watching this closely because WBD isn't alone. Traditional media companies are all facing the same challenges. And if Zaslav's slash and burn approach becomes the standard, we're looking at a pretty bleak future for content. Look, I get it. The media landscape is changing, streaming is the future, cable is dying, and companies need to adapt. But there's a difference between smart restructuring and just whatever the hell this is. When your solution to every problem is firing people while paying executives millions, when your credit ratings downgraded to junk status, and when your own shareholders vote against your compensation, maybe it's time to look in the mirror. The real tragedy here isn't just the jobs lost. It's the creative potential being squandered. These networks used to produce content that mattered, that entertained millions, that pushed boundaries. Now they're just line items on a corporate balance sheet. So what do you think? Is WBD salvageable at this point? Or are we watching the slow motion collapse of a media empire? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more coverage of Hollywood's ongoing dumpster fire. Until next time, keep watching the watchers, because somebody has to hold these corporate overlords accountable. Critical Nerd, out.